So I'm going to call the meeting to order. We'll do roll call. I'm Margie Winters. We have Jason Levy, Don Eaton, Joe Campolita, and Tom Hazel as staff. And new business, we have none. So we'll move on to old business. We have 21-24, 660 Hot Meadow Street, Town of Simsbury, applicant, Dino Nobel owner, replacement and installation of a new sanitary sewer line. And
Tony, if you want, I'm going to hit some of the points I made. So if there's corrections you need to make on what I told them last time, that you'll be aware of what I told them of. Okay. I believe the general understanding, this is part of the Woodland Street sewer replacement that you've seen going on along Hot Meadow in the area of Ebad and Dino Nobel. And I believe what I iterated to the commission was that at this point in time, there's a bypass being done because our sewer line is on their direct campus, which makes access an issue, and to realign it for easier access through the area that we spoke about would relieve them of the access issue, and they can have a more direct access. They'll be going through the terrain that is to the south of them, and there's an area where they're going to have to cross under the railroad tracks and a small, I don't know if it's intermittent or if it's steady. I'll let Tony talk to that. But that was the reasoning that I was understanding, and Tony could correct me if I'm wrong. And with that, it is a short distance just to bypass that section, so for access and future use. And Tony, I'll let you give the big picture and go into some more detail for them. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Tony Piazza. I'm the superintendent for the Water Pollution Control Authority. What Tom said is correct. Basically, I don't know if you know or not, Dino Nobel actually owned the sanitary sewers that were in the Woodland Street area, and also the Pine Hill Homeowners Association and portions of I'm trying to think of the name, farther south, basically everything that they had for corporate housing. All of those homes actually flowed through the Dino Nobel property and actually daisy chained all the way through their property. What we're trying to do with this new line that we're going to put in is eliminate that line. Tom, I don't know if I can share my screen.
It should be open to be shared.
If everybody see, basically the green lines right there.
There we go.
This right here is the main sewer line. It's a 30-inch sewer line that actually comes all the way from Avon, goes all the way to the plant. This is the part of the Dino Nobel property. So currently the flow comes down, flows all the way through Dino Nobel and does a big daisy chain back around, back to our line. What we're proposing is installing a line from this manhole right here to this manhole here. There is a small intermittent waterway right in this area. Basically the wetlands delineation, if I remember correctly, is basically this portion right here, in this section here. So we're basically going to be going underneath this intermittent waterway. We're going to be about 8 feet deep, going all the way through here. Currently there's no water there, but any rain event, water basically drains from Hot Meadow Street flowing this way to the river. You can see where this is more of a delineated water course, but this one is mostly dry all the time, depending on the time of year and rain events. So that's why we're planning on doing this work now, when there's no rain and everything's dry and we can get the work done.
And I also spoke to them about the fact that at Dino Nobel, due to the past pollution issues, that anything on site stays on site. Is that correct?
That is correct. We're not, since they did their soil remediation in the area, any material that we plan to replace is actually going to be stored on their site. So nothing will be taken off site. The plan is to actually, if everything goes like the rest of this project has been, all material will be put right back into the hole. So we won't be taking anything off site. We won't be changing grade of anything. There will be some clearage of trees, obviously, for the installation of the sewer line. No wood chips will be left in the wetlands area. all trees. Stumps will be removed from the area. And if you wanted plantings put back in, we could accommodate that. But obviously we don't want to put any plantings back on top of the sewer line because obviously trees, we don't like having trees on the sewer lines because we want to maintain access.
But shrubs would be all right.
Shrubs are fine, yes.
So how wide a strip?
Right now, they're only going to cut down what they have to. The plan is to, currently, the plan is to do 15 feet. If they have to go a little bit wider in a couple of spots, depending on the type, any trees in the area. Normally it's a 30-foot easement, but we have no plans to cut that big.
And why no wood chips left behind?
As far in the wetlands, in the past, Mike Glidden said no, any wood chips can't be left in the wetlands because you'd be changing the elevation.
Yeah, he has a floodplain in that area as well, and that's probably the reasoning for that.
All right.
I think from that area, due to the high level of disturbance throughout the history of that site, that what we have is probably about, I don't know, Tony, do you have any idea when they did any remediation down there 20, 30 years ago? Or
in that area?
Yeah.
In that area, I don't,
guess.
yeah, it was long. I mean, they just did the remediation on there was nothing in this area, so they didn't have to do any remediation when they just did it 5 years ago.
Okay.
So they didn't have to do any remediation in this area where we're doing the work. Most of the remediation was done on the northern part of the site.
Okay. So if any work was done, it was recent. So there's some just tangles, and I have not been able to, that's the one thing about this site is access is very limited to the public. So I have not put eyes on it other than the aerial that you're looking at. And from what I'm looking at for that area, it looks like medium growth. Maybe to the north or to the west of those railroad tracks, looks like it has a little bit larger growth, but anything in that heavier wetlands area seems to be pretty low.
Yeah, most of what we looked at, the biggest tree I want to say was probably a close 15 to 20 inch tree that we're going to have to take down. It's very in this wetlands area. It's very sparse. I would say in this whole area, there's probably going to be maybe 30 trees that are going to be cut down in this whole area. Up in here, this is more brush than it is trees. But again, you're probably talking 20 to 30 trees in this whole area as well that'll have to come down.
So after the pipe is installed, how will the ground be stabilized? The soil on top?
They fully plan to come back in and hydro seed everything and plant grass back in the area.
And what kind of grass? What type of seed?
Whatever you tell me to plant.
Okay, conservation seed mix for what?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Thank you. That would be
Thank you.
that would be the preferred choice.
Okay. I will make sure that happens.
Sorry, I'm taking notes because we'll make that a condition.
Okay. And you say you were planning to do this now?
As soon as we get permission from the State Rails Commission,
Okay.
we're waiting on them to give our final approval for not having to, for potentially not having to open cut going across the railroad tracks, which will save about $200,000 worth of work. So we're waiting on their permission. But yes, our plan is to start clearing in 2 weeks.
Okay. And then there won't be any problem with frozen ground. You can just cut through that, or
No, they won't have any issues with that.
all right. All right. If the commissioners have any other questions? All right. I would, if you have no more questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we find that this is a regulated activity as there is to be some disturbance in the wetland.
We have a second.
Sure, I'll second.
Thank you, Joe. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. I'll motion that this is not a significant activity as the disturbance is going to be very limited and any soils are going to be replaced, and the area has already been heavily disturbed previously.
And Tom, would this be where we would add in about that the seating would be the conservation? See
No,
next.
on the next motion where
the
you go to
final?
approve
Okay.
it with the special condition that conservation
Okay.
use.
Thank you.
We have a second.
So I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll motion that we approve the application subject to the standard conditions
Right.
and the special condition being using a wet and seed mix for the planting over the pipeline.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right. Good luck with the project.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you around, Tony.
See you, Tom.
Joe, I'm seeing too much of you lately, aren't we?
Yeah, between planning and conservation, it's like every Tuesday we have our
Eight.
time.
We're going to be Tuesday friends, I
Every
guess.
Tuesday.
All right. General conservation business. Minutes from December 21st. Did we have any changes, amendments to those? Anything? All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
You have a second? Thank you, Jason. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, good. Agent actions. I see none. Anything new?
Yeah, nothing really new. There'll be some stuff in the pipeline. There's a few areas of town, just on the heads up, that people are looking into there's two properties that have come into the market, just to give a heads up. One of them's over on Terry Plain. There's wetlands on the property at the toe of the slope of where it's kind of near where Terry Plains and Quarry are. It's a lot where you could probably put one house in, but you know how people are when lots are put on the market. The southern access has a stream near it, so I'm telling everybody you're better off going through the northern access. There's two frontages. And so something might pop up there that might, if they shift it towards the wetlands, might come in for an approval for a single family. I don't think it's subdividable from the outlooks of it, but that's up to engineers and lawyers to figure out if it is and propose it. And then 25 Holcomb Street's on the market as well. That's been subdivided before. What's left is a large parcel that is 75 to 80% wetlands with a stream crossing bisecting the lot. And there's a house with a barn garage and an outbuilding right up against the road. And everybody, of course, asks, can we subdivide it? Can we knock down that stuff and rebuild because it's close to the road? And it's a very difficult lot. So if anything happens on those, we may see them. But the Holcomb one is kind of the way that it's naturally structured makes it kind of difficult to work with. So I have a feeling it's just going to be for somebody who wants to work with what's there. So we might see something for Terry's Plain. But other than that, there's a few commercial parcels that I've had questions on that are heavily inundated with wetlands, but nothing gaining traction. But as we move along and we see some of these properties come on the market, I like to just keep you in the loop so that we're familiar when it does come up. Oh, I heard that address and you mentioned there's wetlands. But as far as anything concrete, we're pretty static right now. Our commercial projects are moving along well. E&S's are holding up. We're hoping there's been some closure on Murphy's Turn, which has been an erosion issue throughout the project. And it looks like the last lot is looking to try to close up and stabilize and get everything set. So I've been working to try to protect the houses on Lawton that are downslope from that project. And it looks like we should have some closure within the next couple of months on that. And I'd like to put that one to rest because from an erosion standpoint, with us with conservation and wetlands, it's been a bit of an issue. Since my tenure here, at least. I don't know how much you've heard about it, but.
No. All right, thank you. Correspondence. Does anyone have anything they want to share? All right, and conservation business. I know Joe and I met with Orlando Cassio and Brian Johnson from to look at possible locations for pollinator gardens in town, since that is a priority for the town to be a pollinator pathway town, around the Simsbury Farms and also along Ironhorse Boulevard. Been working on several projects there. And looking at, I know Open Space is also looking at how some of our meadows can be managed better for pollinators. So those are some of the things that I know Open Space has a meeting tomorrow. And we're looking to be discussing management of our meadow areas, whether we should mow them in the fall, whether we'll mow them in the spring, whether we mow them every other year, whether we mow them every 3 years, but looking to cut down on some of the mowing that the town does. We do an excessive amount of mowing, but leave some of the areas that are not required for play fields to leave them a little taller and more wild. And I know that there is a program through the Marriott golf courses. They have a pollinator, I forget the Operation Pollinator. I think it's a program for getting golf courses to be a little bit more wild and a little bit less manicured. And so we're trying to see if we can get that going in some parts of Simsbury too.
Well, at least I'll know where my
Cooperation of all the town staff.
I'll know where my golf ball is if I ever play any of the town courses, because it'll be right in that patch of tall grass.
There you go. There you go. But you get to see the birds and the butterflies and the bees.
Hey, I don't mind digging through the grasses. That's fine.
Mine likes to find the water. Anytime there's
Well,
water, it's like beeline.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on that. I'm definitely got some water in me.
Well, the idea is to increase the insect diversity in town. I'm reading a wonderfully sobering book about the decline in our insect populations. Most insects do wonderfully beneficial work and are desperately needed for feeding wildlife. They're the ones that take plants and convert them into protein packages for the other wildlife. So I think this is a positive way for the town to be moving.
Yep.
Oh, most definitely.
All right, so that's the only conservation business I know. And I think Open Space is going to be looking at how we can get some of these messages out on our website as well. So, so
And I'll be piggybacking on whatever efforts they make in order to try to get our conservation site up and running a little bit more smoothly. So as we work through this and I find the time,
excellent.
I'll try to conjointly work, because I'm sure that's going to fall on Tom Fitzgerald more than anything when it comes to that. So he and I will hopefully hold hands through that journey.
Fantastic. All right. Does anyone have anything else they want to contribute? All right.
Well, happy 2022, and I
Yes,
hope
Happy
everybody
New
had
Year.
a safe
Yeah.
holiday and New Year, and let's hope that we slide out of this mess and into a beautiful summer this
Sounds good.
2022.
And eventually we may get to meet in person. So maybe
Sounds
this
good.
year.
I'm
Maybe
always
this
up
is
for
the year.
coffee. You know where I
It's been a
work.
while. It's been a while since we've all seen each other. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Right,
All right,
second.
whichever. I'll second, or
Okay, good.
Okay,
whichever
all in
order you
favor?
want to do it in is
We
fine.
can flip a coin for
We'll flip the coin.
Jason, then
Okay.
Joe,
That's
and-
fine.
and we're at like 7:48, so I'm going to go 7:50. And
All right,
Sounds
so
good.
all in favor.
Aye.
Aye, all right.
Easiest vote of the night.
That's right.
have a good night, guys.
All right. Thank
I
you.
will
All
be
right.
in
Have a good
touch
night,
with
you,
everybody. Have
All
a
right.
wonderful one, and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.